Okay, welcome. And the next thing we're going to talk about is scalar multiplication. Okay, so what is a scalar? A scalar is any real number. So when we talk about scalar multiplication of vectors, what we're talking about is taking a vector and multiplying that vector by some real number. Okay, and so how do we deal with that? Well, scalar multiplication is very easy. We just multiply the components of the vector by the scalar. Okay, so in this example here, just show you, so scalar multiplication involves that we have some real number k, could be positive or negative, right, times a vector u is equal to the scalar times this vector, for example in standard position or position form, right, a position vector. What we're going to do is we're going to multiply each component of the vector by the real number k, okay, by the scalar. And so this is what we end up with. So we're just multiplying each component of the vector by the scalar. And that's how you do scalar multiplication. Okay. So the only thing that changes with the scalar multiplication with the vector, the only thing that changes on the vector is the magnitude of the vector. Unless the scalar is negative, then it just goes in the reverse direction. So what you're doing is when you take u, right, and you have, let's say, a vector u, well, all you're doing is if you're multiplying by some scalar, you're either making the vector longer or you're making the vector shorter, right? If the scalar is less than 1. If the scalar is bigger than 1, then you're making the scalar longer. Or if it's negative, the scalar is going to be going in the resultant vector, if you will, is going to be going in the opposite direction. Okay, but it could still be longer or shorter. The magnitude is going to change, right? And again, that's how you do scalar multiplication. So let's do an example. If I have v's 3, 1, so let's v equals 3, 1, and they ask me to find 3v, 1/2 v, and negative v. Okay, so 3v is just going to be what? 3 times 3, comma, 3 times 1, which gives me 9, 3. Okay? And 1/2 v is just going to be 1/2 times 3, comma, 1/2 times 1, which just gives me 1.5 or 1.5, comma, 1/2. Okay? And then of course, negative v, as you've seen in the last one, is just taking the opposite direction, right? Like we showed you in the addition, right? So negative v is just taking the opposite of the components. So negative v in this case is going to be negative 3 minus, or actually, comma, negative 1. Okay? And again, all we're doing is, in this case here, we're not changing the magnitude of the vector, but we're changing the direction in the reverse or opposite direction. Okay, that's it. Have a great day.